Picture me rolling, tip of my chauffeur. Niggas look jealous, you gotta control it. Reaching my quota.
Welcome back, Jay Williams. Let's live life. So today's gonna be a little different, y'all. Today I'm gonna tell you, I had to sit down and think about all the bad cellmates I've had, but one comes to mind in particular. And I'm gonna put him at the top of the list for worst cellmates I had because I never knew what he really was until after he had been released from prison and I had been shipped. So I'm gonna get y'all into the story on everything, how we met and get all through it. And then a little later on in the video, I'll show you the actual, newspaper article on this dude. So granted now, I've been in the same cell years. I mean, almost 7 years at this point, I've been in the same cell. I'm at Greensville Correctional Center, 7 building, cell 120, right in front of the staircase. It's a blind spot. The sports TV is out in front of my cell. It's one of the best cells you could have because it's hard to see from the booth. If you get to fighting or anything, the guards can't see it. You can tattoo back there. By the time the guards get around to it, looking in my cell, we've already got everything cleaned up. It was a great cell. Had a cool celly, man. He's dead now. A dude named Knight and Hill. Big TJ from 22nd and T Street. Rest in peace, TJ. So we're in the chow hall one morning, and TJ decides he wants a second pancake tray. And when I say he's big, dude came to the door the day I met him. He had to turn sideways. Young dude, 22. Looked like the fucking Hulk. He literally had to turn sideways to come through the cell door. And the cell door is about 32, 36 inches wide, Comes in, introduces himself. Me and him get cool. Cellmates for a couple months. My cellmate before him had went to the hole. So on this day, TJ decides he wants a second tray of pancakes. He's not settling for one. I'm too big. I ain't no kid. He just takes another tray right in front of the guard. Guard tells him, put the tray back, you're going to the hole. TJ stands up on him, and instantly they're like, damn, that's you can see it in their face, shit, he's a big dude. They don't make but a little bit of money. They're not trying to wreck with TJ. They let him go ahead and eat his pancakes. He comes back to the pod. Of course, they show up with the card, tell him to handcuff himself, take all his property. Boom, TJ's gone. I go about 2-3 days. I'm loving it. I ain't got no cellmate, no distractions, no interruptions, nobody using the bathroom in the middle of the night or farting or coughing or talking my head off about something I don't care about. I'm good. 3 whole days, man. It was amazing. And then they bring this dude in there, man, this black dude from Petersburg. And right off the rip, I could feel there was something weird about this dude, man. I didn't know what it was. He gave me some crazy story on why he was locked up and how he had been chopped up with a machete and he killed some people and started eating one of them because he figured he could get an insanity plea. This is a true story. Well, I noticed, man, this dude kept looking out the windows at all the gay dudes that, the homosexuals that dressed like girls, and he was really staring. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, that's just crazy. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy. I thought me and him was on the same time to where, I don't have anything wrong with gay people, but, I'm not a dog, so I'm not going to run with a pack of dogs. I'm not a rabbit, so I'm not going to run with rabbits. You know what I mean? I'm not gay, so I'm not going to run with gay people. Well, he was like, nah, I don't fuck with that shit. That shit's crazy, man. These dudes be getting in here and turning gay. I don't understand it. I said, yeah, me neither. Told him, look, I got this amount of time. I've been down this long. Couldn't nothing turn me gay, man. You're either gay or you're not. It don't take long, man, before I realize this dude's full of shit. This dude likes them boys, man. And one thing the homosexual population here in Virginia has when it comes to prisons, they have power. They go to them guards, they can get shit done. For some reason, them guards, they deal with the gumps on a whole different level, man, than they do the rest of us. This dude has a boy, undercover, that he came to that side of the yard to be with. They get me moved up out of my cell. Crazy. I've been in this cell for years, working on a decade. I've been in the same cell. I'd never lived in a house on the streets that long. And all of a sudden, these 2 gay dudes, they got the power to just get me picked up, boom, and shift it into another cell. I've been to the hole, come back out. I request my cell, I go back in my cell. I get to fighting, blah, 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 whatever happens to me, I go back in my cell. I go to the infirmary, something happens. I was the maintenance man. I requested they put me back in my cell. Now, all of a sudden, this gay dude's done went to the city unit manager and got me shipped up out the whole, and not just the cell, but the whole pod. Because he knew now we can't coincide in the same pod because I'm going to feel some type of way. You know what I mean? It's probably going to end up, not good. So they moved me from 7 bill 100 pod to 7 bill 200 pod right next door. When I go in the cell, it's the same thing. It's an empty cell. There's nobody in there. Boom, that's cool. First few days by myself. And then there's another dude in the pod that tattoos by the name of Bama, a white dude. Me and Bama, we used to sit out the table and draw and just talk. And we started clicking, man. We started working out together. And within a couple of days, I went to the people and I said, hey, can you move Bama in my cell? So they said, let me see. Let me check, see if y'all compatible. Why? Yeah, we're good. They moved Bama in the cell with me. Everything's good. One thing I caught right off the gate is he had a picture on the wall of this little baby. And this little baby had like a breathing tube in its mouth. And you could tell the baby was in a hospital. And the baby didn't look like, it was in good shape at all. So I asked him, I said, man, what's up with the baby, man? On the wall, you don't got no pictures on the wall. And they got this red square where you can hang your pictures. And all, my square is full of holiday cards and family photos and friends and stuff. And his square's just got this one picture, this eerie, I can still see a creepy picture. This not creepy in the sense of the baby, just the way it was placed and the look. This creepy picture in the center of the square of this baby. And he's like, yeah, that's my son. He got hurt. And, he's been messed up for a couple of years now. Yada, yada. And I'm like, damn, man, I'm sorry to hear that. That must be rough. So I'm like, what are you in? We get to chatting, boom. What are you in prison for? He's like, man, I got to fighting one night with this dude. And my aunt tried to interfere. And I ended up hitting my aunt. And I split her shit. And they gave me 2 malicious wounding charges. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. And he just got a couple of years. I think like 4 or 5 years. So I'm like, damn, that sucks, man. He's like, yeah, now my family don't come see me. So all right, didn't think nothing else of it, man. Bama was a thorough dude, thorough white boy. At least I thought. I done did his whole back. He's done tattoos on me. I sleeved him up, did his neck piece, did all that. We work out. We build together, man. 7, 8 months passed by. Me and Bama are still in the cell. All the way up until the point that Bama went home. And when Bama was leaving, he was coming back. He was getting out. He was going back to my area. He was going to Richmond, Chesterfield area. I told him, look, I know people out there that work in clubs and stuff. If you want a job bouncing, holler at me. And, I'll just let me know and I'll hook you up. I'll put you in with some people. He was like, yeah, do that. So we switch information. The day leaves, we dap up. He leaves behind the stuff he don't want to take, some food and CDs and clothes and shit. Stuff that's no good to you in that, in the outside world, but it's valuable in prison. And that's just like that, he's gone. A couple of days later, I talked to my homeboy and he's like, yo, somebody named Bama contacted me about a job. And I don't know what it was. I guess it's just that instinct that we all get, but something told me, it was like a little voice in my head saying, Jay, don't mess with him. Don't mess with him. Don't mess with him. For some reason, that little picture on the wall all of a sudden started to bother me now that he was gone. And he took the picture, but it was like it was engraved in my head. And I told my homeboy, I said, nah, don't mess with dude, man. I said, let him go do his thing. Just tell him ain't no openings, man. Something's not sitting right with me with this dude, man. And it sucked because that was my homeboy. Fast forward, I get shipped. Now I'm at Indian Creek Correctional Center in Chesapeake, Virginia. I got to do my last 2 years there for re-entry. Yay. Watching the news one night, and I wasn't really watching. I was more or less laid back in my bunk. I think I was reading a Men's Fitness, and I had my headphones in, and it said, local man arrested for second time for nearly beating child to death. And it caught my attention, and I leaned my magazine down, looked over my magazine at TV, and there was Bama. I kind of just sat there for a minute in awe, and then they got into details that years earlier, they were called to his house, and that little baby that was in that picture had swelling on the brain, and the skull was cracked. And that he tried to say the baby fell out of the high chair, that the dog knocked the chair over. But the findings in the report stated that that wasn't the case. This child ultimately died from the beating that Bama gave him. Now Bama's got a new girlfriend, and she's got a kid, and he's arrested for doing the same thing. He's done beat this other little child real bad. Put it in the hospital where they're like concerned this kid might die. And I'm just sitting there just angry, disgusted, pissed off, feeling tricked, feeling mad. because they didn't get his dude much time, and he killed his kid, beat his kid to death with his fist. And to think that he was put back out there to do this to somebody else's kid just kind of really, it bothered me, man. There's no way. I'm a dad, an uncle, and, I love kids, man. Love people in general, but kids are my, that's my soft spot. So to think that dudes like him could do something like this to a child and get out before me and all these other people just kind of, it didn't sit well with me. So I followed the case as much as I could. I don't have no internet. I catch a little bit on the news here and there. And one of the first things I did when I got out was I checked into Bama. I remembered his name. He had left some papers in my cell that got mixed in my paper, so I had his name. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up this article real quick and let y'all read a little bit of it. That's the piece of shit right there. That dude. See that dude? That's the piece of shit. Just read a little bit more. Yeah. So like I was saying, they let this dude out to do this all over again. And, I've had cellys that were lifers, that were serial killers. I've had cellys that, were gang members that had done drive-by shootings. I had cellys that had murdered their wives. I'd never been in a cell with someone that hurt a child. And had I known that Bam had hurt a child, A, we wouldn't have been in the cell together. B, I'd have told everybody. It'd have been green light. It'd have been hunting season on Bama because everybody would have wanted to get at him. And see, the first time they closed them doors in there with me and him and they together, I'd have had to have him. Even though I don't know that child, just on the strength of how much I missed my kid and, nephews and nieces and people I cared about, I'd have to have him, man, because it's just what he did was so fucked up. It just goes to show you, man, that you never really know who you have around you. And, I watch other prison channels, and Wes Watson says that out in Cali, they make you show your paperwork. And as I was thinking about this today before I put the video together, I said, you know what? That's exactly why. Because dudes can lie to you and tell you, they are whatever they want to be. They're in there for whatever. And just be the biggest snake and you never know it. But that paperwork don't lie. And here it is. I'm kicking it with this dude, man. Eating with him, telling stories, laughing. He sees pictures of my son on the wall, my nephews and nieces. We're laughing, making plans for the future. And the whole time, this piece of shit has killed his kid. This innocent little boy. They started a fund. They started all different types of organizations named after this little boy for what, Bama did to him, man. And like I said, it just goes to show you, you never know who you're around. And that's the scary part about prison is you only know what people allow you to know. And I'd have worse, much, much worse cellys. But when it comes to being tricked and just the monster inside of a person it would take to do something like that to a child, Bama takes the cake. And if you see this, Bama, you're a piece of shit. Straight up. If you're out of jail, out of prison, and you run across this, you're a piece of shit. You should never walk the streets again. And I hope that you never sleep in night's peace. I hope that your nightmares haunt you. And on your day of judgment, God gives you exactly what you deserve. You ain't got no friend here, man. I'm not fucking with you. I don't rock with you. And I hope that none of my subscribers do. And I hope that after everybody sees your picture, they'll pass it around in hopes that you never get around another child again. So yeah, man, that's been it's been story time, man. I just wanted to share y'all the story of Bama. Fuck that dude, man. There's no other way to put it. Fuck you, Bama. You're a piece of shit. Y'all watch who you're around, man. Keep your grass cut low so you can see the snakes. Know who you have around you. Don't always accept what people tell you is the truth, because a lot of times they're not going to tell you the truth. Some people have done things so heinous that they can't tell you the truth. So do your homework, man. Do your research. Know who you have in your circle. Don't get bammed by a Bama. It's Jay Williams, man. Let's live life. And as always, man, salute.
Picture me rolling, tip of my chauffeur. Niggas look jealous. You gotta control it. Reaching my quota.